Hi, everybody. It's Deborah from peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching my video today. Today, we're going to be talking about foods that are poisonous for dogs and cats. And we are on my website, peoplelovinganimals.com. This is an article that is published on my website, and it's called Foods That Are Poisonous for Dogs and Cats, People Foods to Avoid Feeding Your Pets. Now, when I did research for this article, I knew of a few foods that could be toxic to animals, just being a pet owner my whole life, but there were many that I did not know about. So you're probably going to be surprised at some of the foods on this list. I'm going to give you a list of all of the foods that are known to be poisonous for dogs and cats, and kind of a little write-up as to the reason why. I also want to give you some resources here. The Humane Society of the United States. Well, let me tell you. Firstly, this article that we're working with here, I'm going to give you a link to this article in the description box for this video. Okay, so I should have said that first. I'm sorry. So you're going to be able to go to this article. You're going to be able to read the whole thing. I'm not going to read this whole article to you today. I'm just going to use it as a guide for our video. But you can click into this article with the link in the description box, and you're going to be able to click on the links and things that you're going to see in this article as we go along. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt my thought process there and backtrack, but I want to make sure that I'm making sense. So, in the article that's on my website, I give you a link to some resources. The Humane Society of the United States, they have put together a list of foods that are poisonous for dogs and cats. That's where I got this information. I never put any information on my website that is not from a credible source. Okay, so I didn't just come up with this list because my Aunt Betty said her dog threw up after eating this hot dog. Do you see what I mean? I only do research through credible sources, and this list that I'm going to talk with you about and that's in my article is from the Humane Society of the United States. So I think that they're pretty reputable. It's a pretty credible list. Also in the article, and here you can write this down if you'd like. The ASPCA does have an animal poison control center, and here's the phone number. So if you want to go ahead and write that down, if your dog or your cat has ingested something and you think it's poisonous, or if you know it's poisonous, you can go ahead and call them, and they'll give you information. You can also call your local veterinary office, and tell them, my dog just ate this, and they'll tell you what to do. And if it's after hours and your vet's office is closed, you can call this animal control center number, or call the number for your vet's office, because most vet's offices do have a recording that will give you an emergency number to call if you have an emergency with your pet. All right. There's also, in case you've never had an emergency with your pet after hours, you may not know this. If, like, for example, in my area, we have a couple of emergency pet hospitals that are open 24 hours. And so I know if something happens to my dog or cat after hours, I know I need to go to the next closest 24-hour animal hospital if mine is not open. Okay, so if you don't know where that is in your area, you should find that out and have that number handy in case you did have an emergency and you either needed to call somebody right away, or if you needed to rush your animal to the vet and it's after hours, you don't want to have to waste time in an emergency. So do get that information. You can get it right from your local vet's office. Just say, where do I take my dog or cat after hours if I have an emergency situation? And again, here's the number for the poison control. Now, here is the list of foods that are poisonous for dogs and cats. Now, I'm not going to read this to you, but I'm just going to scroll through kind of slowly here. And like I said, you're going to be able to click into this article. You're going to be able to read this list. It's a pretty lengthy list. A lot of things. Some of these I knew, some of them I didn't know. Okay, so here is the list. And like I said, you're going to be able to click into this article and read this list. And then some of these I do want to talk about briefly, but some of them I'm just going to skim through. Like I said, you can go in and read this article, but just as a couple of things of interest. Chocolate, coffee, and caffeine. Now, I do know now that caffeine can be toxic for dogs. And I don't know about cats. I'm assuming so. And I knew that chocolate could be, and it turns out I believe it's the caffeine in the chocolate that makes it toxic. But in the article, and I'll tell you this story now, when I was a kid, we had a poodle named Peppy. And when I was a teenager, my boyfriend bought me one of those heart-shaped boxes of chocolates for Valentine's Day. And when we weren't at home, Peppy got into that chocolate and he ate like half the box. Well, luckily for the dog, he threw up several times, which was probably what saved his life. But what I'm about to tell you is shocking, but it is the absolute truth. Very shortly after that, Peppy went blind. And then shortly after that, he was having health issues. We took him to the vet and he was having kidney disease and he had to be put down. Okay, now obviously there's no way of knowing that it was absolutely the chocolate that did it to the dog, but I'm willing to bet that it was. Now at the time, me and my parents, we didn't know that chocolate was toxic for dogs. We didn't know. Years later, I found this out and I said to my mom, "Hey, I just found out that chocolate is toxic for dogs." And both of us at the same time said, "Oh my God, that's what happened to Peppy. That's why Peppy suddenly went blind and suddenly, basically died of kidney failure." So it is very serious. There are, when they say, foods are toxic or poisonous to dogs and cats, it's serious. Okay. So that was one I just want to mention because that's my own personal experience with a terrible consequence of a dog, of mine getting access to something that I think killed him. Um, I also, I just want to mention here, I don't want to get too far off track, but, we have to be so careful. I had a tomcat named Myron. He was really cute. I had a problem, in my house with ants. My house became infested with ants. And I was spraying the ant spray all around, to kill the ants. I was spraying it on all the openings of doorways, the openings of windows, all around the floors, everywhere. I didn't realize, I should have realized this, but I didn't until years later somebody mentioned that your pets can be poisoned by these sorts of things that you use in your house. Well, Myron was a perfectly healthy cat, had no health problems whatsoever. I move into this house. Shortly after I had the ant problem, Myron suddenly became ill. And I took him to the vet, and he was suffering from kidney failure, and he had also become anemic. And the cat died. Now, again, I didn't put it together at the time, and I don't know for sure, but I do wonder, was it the ant spray? Now, I'll tell you something else. I should have known. Thinking back, I really should have realized I would catch Myron eating the dead ants. Like there would be dead ants and he would eat them. And I just thought, oh, gross, don't eat dead ants. Well, what I wasn't realizing is those ants died from the poison. They're coated in the poison because they were sprayed with it, and they've probably ingested the poison. So I really, I really think I killed my cat. I hate to be dramatic, but I really think that me spraying all that pesticide, all that poison, and especially him eating the ants that died from the poison. Do you see what I mean? So these are two really serious things that I've had happen in my own life that made me want to research this and put this on my website because it's, like I said, it's very serious. So I really hope that this video and this article on my website can help save other animals, from our stupidity. Alcohol. This one ticks me off. I think anyone who gives alcohol to a dog or cat is a complete idiot. I'm sorry, but I do. No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Anybody that gives alcohol to a cat or dog is an idiot. It's infuriating. Why anybody thinks this is funny is beyond me. Alcoholic beverages and foods containing alcohol can cause vomiting, diarrhea, decreased coordination, central nervous system depression, difficulty breathing, tremors, abnormal blood acidity, coma, and death. Not funny. Okay, so if you're at a party and some jackasses are giving the dog beer and saying, "Oh, isn't it funny we got the dog drunk?" Not funny. And you know what? It is considered animal abuse. All right, so call the cops. Honestly, it's so infuriating. I'm getting my blood pressure up just talking about it. But really, not only is it not funny, it can be toxic to the animal. Okay, so it's not funny. Now, here's some other ones that I did not know about: avocado, macadamia nuts. I did find out recently that grapes can be toxic to dogs. And but then of course raisins. You don't realize it's like, okay, grapes, well, raisins. Well, raisins are grapes. They're dried up grapes. Now this says the article at the Humane Society said, although the toxic substance within grapes and raisins is unknown, these fruits can cause kidney failure. Um, Now the thing is, I had a girlfriend who had huskies, and her huskies loved grapes, and she would throw the grapes up in the air, and the huskies would catch it. She said, "Geez, my dogs ate grapes all those years, nothing ever happened to them." All right, well, that's fine. But you know what? I smoked cigarettes for 25 years. I'm still alive. Does that mean those cigarettes weren't toxic to me, and that I most certainly could have died? I most certainly could have died. Just because you don't drop dead at that moment doesn't mean that harm is not being done to your body. Okay, now maybe it's a case where one dog can eat grapes his whole life and it doesn't affect him. Another dog eats grapes and dies. I don't know. My point is, my decision is, when in doubt, don't. If it might be toxic to the animal, if you had a baby and somebody said, "Hey, grapes are toxic to babies," do you say, "Oh, that's not true"? No, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't take the risk. Oh, I get so upset when I think about these things. Yeast dough, I don't even know what that is, but you can read about it in the article. Raw meat, eggs, and bones. Read this article. And, also bones can be very dangerous to dogs, especially chicken bones. Chicken bones are very brittle and they can get stuck in the dog's throat. They can get stuck in the dog's stomach. They can rip a hole in the dog's stomach, in the lining of their bowels, in their digestive tract. Bones, and I'm talking like real animal bones, like chicken bones. They're not good for dogs, not at all, and cats as well. So read this here, please, when you come to this article. This is a sweetener that I can't pronounce. It's a sweetener in gum, candy, baked goods, toothpaste, and these are the things that it can cause in animals. So just be aware that things like that. And a lot of the times it's just common sense. If it's not dog food or cat food, don't give it to them. And unless if it's not dog food or cat food, or if it doesn't grow out of the ground, you know what I mean? Like like a lot of vegetables are okay for dogs, like, broccoli, carrots, whatever. If they're not on this list, you just, when in doubt, don't. Just try to be smart. Like, for example, onions. Now, I knew that onions were not good for dogs and cats, but I didn't know about garlic and chives, but they're all part of the same family. um, and like I said, if these seem unbelievable to you, just read the information on this article. It'll give you more information. Milk is interesting because a lot of people will feed milk to cats, and it's kind of a well-known fact that cats like milk. It says, because pets do not possess significant amounts of lactose, the enzyme that breaks down lactose in milk and other milk-based products can cause them diarrhea or other digestive upset. It's true of cats too. Do they like it? Yes. Do they lap it up? Yes. Does it likely make them sick? Yes. They make milk alternatives for cats, by the way. So if your cat really likes milk, go and get them a milk alternative. But when it comes to milk, just assume that your dog or cat is lactose intolerant, because they generally are. Again, does your cat keel over? Keel over and die because you gave him a saucer of milk? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean it's not wreaking havoc on his digestive system. Okay. Salt, salt can be worse for cats and dogs than it is for us, but it's basically, some of it is the same reasons that we shouldn't eat a lot of salt. They shouldn't eat a lot of salt. And I write in the article, don't share the potato chips with your dog. It's just use common sense. If you're eating a bag of potato chip, give the dog one. Don't give them half the bag, okay? Because you don't want them to ingest all that salt. So just, try to use common sense. Now, for more information, I have written an article called How to Keep Your Dog Out of the Garbage. There's a link to it in this article. And this relates to this foods that are poisonous for dogs and cats, because if your dog gets into the garbage, or your cat, they can eat stuff in the garbage that is toxic. Like, for example, I had a wiener dog once named Taz get into into the garbage, and that was after I wrote this article, the article about the foods. And so I did know that certain things were toxic, and there were, like, for example, coffee grounds in that garbage can. And I thought, shit, I hope she didn't eat any of the coffee grounds. And then I also had an incident with a little beagle named Daisy, and I caught her red-handed getting into the garbage, and I yelled Daisy, and just as I yelled Daisy, she gulped a great big swallow. Turns out she had swallowed the remains of a piece of chicken. All right. Well, later that night, the dachshund, or the beagle Daisy, is coughing, coughing, coughing. By the next morning, she had not stopped coughing. So I took her to the vet. Turned out she had a chicken bone about 2 inches long stuck in her throat horizontally. Can you imagine? Now, luckily, the vet was able to just give her a little Valium, or a whiff of gas, enough to calm her down enough so that he could put tongs down her throat and gently remove that bone. Now, luckily, he was able to remove it. If it had gone down into her stomach, first of all, it can rip and tear all the way down. It can rip and tear in the stomach. She might have had to have a stomach surgery that not only would be very dangerous, but she may not have survived. And obviously, it would have cost me a lot of money. Also, it cost me the money for this vet visit just to take her because of this. So again, like I say, the chicken bones, they can be dangerous, but keeping your dog out of the garbage is important because they can ingest things that are dangerous for them. So I hope you'll go there, read this article, How to Keep the Dog Out of the Garbage. And on my YouTube channel, you'll also see a video about that, and you'll be able to watch the video and get more information about that. Couple more things before we go. First of all, I am giving you a link in the description box of. Oh, by the way, this is hilarious. Look at this picture. These guys are just playing, obviously, but it's like, don't let the dog eat the cat. It cracks me up. Sometimes I wonder, does the cat just cannot stand that dog, or what? The picture just cracks me up. So I am going to give you a link to this article on my website, peoplelovinganimals.com. You can go here. You can look at this article. Also, I do have hundreds of articles and videos on my YouTube channel, and also on my website, about cat training, dog training, puppy training, pet care, pet health, pet supplies, and medications. I also do product reviews. There's lots of information here. Also, I am an affiliate marketer. I do make money on my website. I do recommend certain products and services to my visitors, and I do make commission on some of those things. Now, obviously, on today's article, there's nothing being sold here. A lot of my articles, there's nothing being sold. So I'm not making any commissions on that. But, for example, I do have dog training programs, cat training programs, products, services. A lot of them I can offer a discount to you because I'm an affiliate. But if you do make purchases on my website, I do make a commission. It's how I do this for a living. It's how this is my job. So please tell your friends about my website. I do donate 10% of all of the commissions that I earn on this website to animal charities. And if you go to the homepage of my website, you will see, I'll just show you here real quick. If you go to the homepage of my website, peoplelovinganimals.com, you'll see a list of the animal charities that I donate to. Okay, so you'll be able to see that. This is me, by the way. These are my last two dogs that I had. This is Cagney. He's a Boston Terrier, and this is Tazzy. She's the same little dog that I just told you about, got into the garbage. I love them. Sadly, they're both passed away now, but beautiful animals. So I would appreciate it if you would please share my website with people that you know who have cats and dogs, because I do support animals. 10% of everything I make goes to animal charities. And also in the link to, the description box this video, I'm going to give you a link to subscribe to my email lists. I have one for dog lovers. I have one for cat lovers. You're welcome to subscribe to both if you are both. And if you subscribe to my email list, about every 5 or 7 days, you'll get a new email from me. It'll either contain an article from my website about dogs or cats, or it'll contain a video or some sort of resource. And you can unsubscribe from that list at any time. But it is very valuable information. And again, please share that information with your friends. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, if you feel that it was helpful to you, I would appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Also, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm doing new videos several times a week, and there are already a lot of videos already on the YouTube channel. So I hope you'll check it out, and I hope you learn a lot of stuff. And always feel free to comment on this video, comment on my articles, reply to my emails. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any topic that you would like me to cover. Just let me know. I'm happy to do research and create an article or create a video for you. Because, if it's something that you need to know, chances are it's something that other animals lovers are looking for as well. So again, thanks so much for visiting. I hope that I've helped you. I hope I've given you good information. And again, my name is Deborah, and my website is peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks again. Bye-bye.